Brazil is in a crazy situation because Bolsonaro is falling on his face. He has mishandled the crisis, the pandemic so badly. If you see how they're digging out graveyards in Brazil, preparing for death, I mean, he has fallen on his face. He said it wasn't real. I mean, it's unbelievable how bad Bolsonaro has handled this. 46% of the population wants him to resign at this point. And here's the problem. If you read The Economist, most of the imperialists want him out of there too. Trump likes him. That Trump faction likes Bolsonaro. But most of Western capitalism wants him out as well. Here's the problem. What's the strongest force within Brazil to replace him? Socialism. Right? Everyone knows the most popular leader in Brazil right now is Lula da Silva, the socialist president. And Lula da Silva, when he was president, he was a social democrat. He was middle of the road. And then he got imprisoned. They had to put Lula da Silva in prison to keep him from running against Bolsonaro. Right? They put him in prison, and he's now been released. They proved, we got the text, the trial was rigged, trumped up charges. He's released from prison. In prison, Lula da Silva became far more radical. He praised North Korea. And his party, the PT, the Workers' Party of Brazil, is far more radical than it was. They are a communist party now. And they're anti-imperialist to their core. They're far more radical. So the imperialists are in this weird spot. The Economist hates him. They can't stand him. He's a demagogue. He's mismanaging things. They want things to be stable. He's, in his own interests. He's tied to right-wing militias. They don't like him. But if Bolsonaro falls, he's going to be replaced with socialism. They don't want that. So they're in this hard place where he's like a pill they have to swallow. And that's often what fascism is, right? Hitler was the same way, right? The British, the Americans, they couldn't stand Hitler, but at least he killed the communists, right? I mean, that was their attitude, right? And that Bolsonaro, they don't like him. They don't like him. He's mismanaging Brazil. He's not working in their economic interest. He's not playing ball with them. He's getting all kinds of things wrong. Trump likes him. The Trump faction likes him. Likud party in Israel loves him. He's kissing up to Netanyahu like you wouldn't believe. But overwhelmingly, the international capitalist class hates Bolsonaro. But they know that the alternative to Bolsonaro is socialism. Lula da Silva comes back into power. The Workers' Party comes back into power. If that's the case, this middle-of-the-road stuff is gone. And I said this. I actually wrote an article way back when, 2013, 2014, basically predicting this, that middle-of-the-road line, that Lula da Silva and Dilma Rousseff had this middle-of-the-road perspective. They're like, well, we're going to be social democrats. We're going to be critical of the United States sometimes, but we're not going to go full-on with the Bolivarians. We're not going to be full-on with Russia and China. We're going to be middle-of-the-road. We'll do business with Russia and China sometimes. We'll do business with the United States sometimes. We'll have a lot of social programs. We're not going to nationalize things too much. We're going to be middle of the road. That line, right, didn't work. It fell. You can't do it, right? You can't do it for too long. You can't do it for too long. And the Workers' Party, the thing is, the Workers' Party, maybe you can do it a little bit. Modi can do it. Erdogan, Duterte can do it. But in Brazil, where the labor unions, where working class politics, where socialism is the basis of that government. If you have a working class Marxist government, you can't ride the fence, right? Now, Modi, Erdogan, Duterte, they're not socialists. Their base is not the working class. They're popular among the national bourgeoisie, if you will. But in Brazil, Lula da Silva came to power because of a populist socialist working class movement. Dilma Rousseff came to power because of a populist socialist movement. They took office and they rode the fence. They walked down the middle of the road. And I remember Obama saying, Lula da Silva, I like him. Now, he's socialist, but he's not like Venezuela. I like him. And they tried to ride the fence. Now, look what happened, right? Bolsonaro's in there. Lula went to prison. Now they realize you can't ride the fence anymore. You can't ride the fence anymore, right? And Lula da Silva is far more radical. If he takes office, they're going to become even more socialist than before. And they're going to go more in the Venezuela direction, more in the Evo Morales direction. And so the imperialists are in this spot where they're going to tolerate Bolsonaro. And it's a contradiction. It's a big contradiction. And My prediction is that Bolsonaro will fall, and I think that Brazil will go back towards socialism, but it's going to be difficult. I mean, the right wing militias there, the racist groups, I think Bolsonaro will fall. I think that he will fall. My prediction is that Brazil will, it might take a year or two, but I think Brazil will go back into the anti imperialist camp, and it will be solidly anti imperialist. It won't be halfway, it'll be in the anti imperialist camp soon. But it'll be a struggle, right? And I think that the global economy crashing will have a lot to do with it. I think China's continue to rise, the way China's economy is already moving again. I predict that Brazil will be back, will be back in the hands of anti-imperialists soon. But never say never. I mean, we don't know. But that's my prediction. But yeah, Bolsonaro is falling on his face. He's a failure. But the imperialists would prefer him over socialism, which is the alternative. And the Workers' Party, the Communist Party. I've been to Brazil. I actually shook hands with Michel Temer, who became president after Dilma Rousseff was forced out of office. He was revealed to have been working with the CIA. But I spoke at a conference of the Trade Union Center of Brazil